Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to talk to you today about making your very first frame in Affinity Designer. And some of you may say, well, why aren't you using Photoshop? What's the big deal with Affinity Designer? Well, I have used both. I used Photoshop for several years in graphic design, and I switched over to Affinity Designer roughly about the time it came out. And one of the reasons I did that, I wanted to try it out because it was a one-time cost, and that was the big thing for me. At the time I purchased it, it was about $50. Um, and Photoshop and the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite was at least $53 per month. Now you did get the whole suite with that, but there was a lot of stuff in there I wasn't really using. I was doing mostly just video editing and graphics, so and not a ton of photography stuff, but a little bit of that too. So it just worked out better financially for me to purchase Affinity Designer as a one-time thing. I like the layout. I like how it looks. It looks more like something that's made by Apple rather than the look of the Adobe products, which are great products, but I just prefer the ones from Affinity. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you how to make a frame if you need a certain aspect ratio for something that you're creating. And then also at the end, I'm going to show you how to export that in that aspect ratio, or you can change it, which is pretty cool too, to whatever aspect ratio you need and any file format that you would need to. So let's get into the video. Okay, now that we're in our web browser, you want to open that up and go to the search bar and type in Affinity Designer. And now I want to say, if you have a Mac, you can go to the Mac App Store and download the Designer app. You'll see the blue image there, and you can go and download that. Same thing if you want to do photo editing. They do have Affinity Photo, which has the same logo. It is just a different color. It's more of a purple pink color, so you can download that too if you want to do photo editing with this. But for now, for this tutorial, we're going to go to where it says Affinity Professional Creative Software, and we're going to click that, and it'll open up their web page. And then we're going to go to the top right and hit the menu button and go under Affinity Designer for desktop. And then you can scroll down. It's $50, no subscription needed. It's just a one-time cost. So you can go to buy now. And then in that menu, you can click this down arrow and choose whether you need Mac OS or Windows. Alright, so once we've done that, once you've downloaded it, you're going to open Affinity Designer. And when that opens, there's a menu that's going to come up where you can choose some different settings. So we're going to click New Document here in the little bottom right of this window. And then you can do a couple things here. At the top, you can pick whether you want this for print, whether it's going to go to press, photo, web, or devices like smartphones and tablets. So right now we're going to stick with web for this and leave these settings alone. For document units, yours may start up with a different setting like inches or feet. We're going to go with pixels today. That's what we want to use. RGB, that's fine. Color profile, that's fine for what we're doing. You want to make sure this box is checked for a transparent background. That way, if you're building a frame where you need negative space in there, that'll be included when you export it. So for the width today, we're going to go with 1200 by 1800 to build a frame for a photo booth. And for this DPI, we are going to set that at the highest amount possible. That's going to give you the sharpest image when you export. All this stuff is fine. We're going to leave this alone, and we're going to click OK. So when you create the document, this is what you're going to see. And this, what you're seeing here, that is the transparent background showing you that nothing is going to be there. So one of the first things we're going to do to build a simple frame, just like a picture frame, is we're going to go over here. We're going to go to the rectangle tool. Okay? Then we're going to go up to here where it says fill and stroke. So the fill is what would fill the inside of the image, and the stroke is like a border around the outside. So for this one, we're going to click on fill, and you have different options. You can create gradients, but for right now we're just going to click none. So if you see that line there, that means there will be no fill. When we draw this box, it's not going to have anything inside it. We'll just have a border. And with the stroke, we're just going to leave it black for now. But you want to make sure right next to the stroke where this line is, where it says none, we're going to click there. And we're going to click just a straight line, solid line. And we're going to bump the width up to 1.5 or 2, you can choose. So we're going to go with 2. And then if this magnet is on over here, that's called snapping. So if you look, when I go to this corner, you'll see those red and green lines pop up. That's snapping. So it's going to make sure it goes exactly in that corner. If snapping is off, then nothing happens when I get over here. It doesn't lock onto that corner. So we want to make sure snapping is on. And because we've already set our aspect ratio, we're just going to go ahead and click and drag all the way down to the other corner, and that'll snap in there too, and make it the exact width and height we want, 1200 by 1800. If you see that little box where it says W 1200 H 1800, that's exactly what we want. Now the stroke isn't that thick, so we're going to go back up to this little bar up here, and you can make that any size you want, and you'll see it can get as big or as small as you want. You can that's really big. You don't want it that big. So let's go with 25 for now. And let's say you did want to change the color. So we set our stroke at 25, and now if you click the little box next to the stroke, you can change this color. And this is a color wheel. There's a couple things you can do with this. So if you want it all black, you'll notice it's in this corner. If you drag it all the way down, our box is going to be white. So you can change how dark or light the color is within that inner triangle, and the outside triangle, or the outside circle where this dot is. Let's drag this one all the way here and makes it red. Now if I drag this around, I can change to any color I want in the entire color spectrum. And then within those colors, you can make that certain blue darker. You can make it lighter, more opaque. And you can make it white or black. So if you want to make something white or black, you can do it from wherever in this inner triangle. What you do on the outer circle doesn't really matter as much. So let's just say we want a simple blue frame like that. And then we're going to click over to our pointer tool or move tool. And then let's say this is what you want to export. Just a blue, simple blue frame. We've got a transparent background here. So we're going to export that now. So what we're going to do is go up to File. And then if you wanted to save this frame, you could save it and save it to your external hard drive or flash drive. Or if you want to save it to your desktop, you can do that. That's not something I would recommend. If you save a lot of stuff there, it's going to slow down your computer over time. So let's pretend we saved this to our external hard drive or flash drive, and now we're ready to send it out. So we're going to click Export. We're not going to click Share. You can do that if you want, but that's going to send the whole document through mail, messages, or whatever else you have. So right now we're going to go to Export because that's going to give us some more settings. So up at the top here, this export window, you have all your different file types you would need. You can even send this as a Photoshop file, PDF, all of these other ones as well. Whatever you need to send it out as, you can send it. So since we want this frame to not have anything in the background, we're going to export it as PNG. Now the cool thing is, earlier we built this to be 1200 by 1800, which is what it's set at for our export, but you can also change that. So let's say I wanted this bigger, I could change this to 1800, and because this lock is set, when I hit enter, it automatically changes this other side, the height, to be locked into that same ratio we started with. So I'm going to switch this back to 1200, and there we go. And you can change your setting if you want. I leave mine at 24. Resample, I leave mine at bilinear. You can change those other ones if you want to. So now that we've done that, we're ready to hit export. And then it's going to give you options where you can choose to save that. So I'm just going to save this as the blue frame, and then save, and that's it. Well, thank you for watching today. I hope that was helpful to you. I'll leave a couple links in the description below of some products I use along with that on my computer. One thing that's really helpful to have is some sort of external hard drive or flash drive. The one I use is really tiny, and it's 128 gigabytes on there. You can store all your files on that. That way it's not taking up space on your hard drive and slowing your computer down. So I'll leave a link to that below, and then if you've ever thought about using a wireless mouse or a Bluetooth mouse, I'll leave a couple links to those too. So if you liked the video today, hit the thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel as we have more videos coming out, more tutorials, that type of thing. So thanks for watching today. We'll talk to you soon.